Hi, this is J.D. Ingram of the Charleston Pipe Band, and I want to welcome you to my series on how to be a great piper in 3 steps. As a refresher, here is the tree diagram for our 3 easy steps. Stay tuned as we dive into today's topic. Step 3, have good presentation, because how you look performing the instrument makes just as big of an impact as how you sound performing the instrument. Part 1 of Step 3, have good presentation, is about the performance. So for the performance, we focus on 3 aspects of your performance: a strong start, a clean stop, and a consistent middle. We'll talk about some tips to do those things now.
Bagpipe performance. It's very key to have a intentional performance when you're performing. If you get up on stage because you're about to give a recital and you take some time, you blow up your bagpipes, it takes a little bit, and you gotta wiggle your chin around, and then you strike in, you get the kind of strike in, and then you get your chanter squeaks in a couple times before you get your hands on it, and then you get your chanter and starts, and then all right, you're finally going, and it's been like a minute or two of just this gradual increase of sound without any, it doesn't sound like it's going anywhere. You've lost your audience at this point, right? The pipe band strike-in was developed for a reason. It's purposeful, it's timely, there's no sound, and then boom, E, tune, right? You got 3 steps basically that the audience is hearing the 8-count roll off. And doing that for any performance, whether it is a solo Amazing Grace at a funeral, or it is a recital for a judge, or whatever, it's a good habit to get in is be timely and be purposeful. Don't let your drones whine in with the double tone. Don't let your chanter squeak and squawk in. Bring it in when you're ready for it, and then start the tune. Stopping strong is just as important. We've all heard the drones like right at the end. Avoid that. It doesn't sound good. If you do that at home, whatever, but don't do that in public. People they think bagpipes are a joke because of stuff like that. So you sound, and then you stop. You sound until the stop. You stop at the stop. You don't have this gradual decline of you start to cut off because you're preparing and you're squeezing and you're not blowing quite as much in the bag, and then the pitch is dropping and you're getting out of tune, and then you whine off, and then solid pressure. Prepare yourself. Stop. Way better. And doing everything in the middle. And so with the performance aspect of doing everything in the middle, it's being consistent. It's, if I'm playing an MSR and I get to the end of the march and I go, oh crap, what's my strathspey? Oh, okay. And you got a long pause there, and then you start the strathspey. People are gonna what was he doing? Be prepared for the tune transitions. Play like you know where you're going, and be prepared for what's coming. And especially if you're playing somewhere in public, if you're playing like on the street, if you're playing in a parade, if you're playing in a pub, especially a pub, be aware of your surroundings too. If you're all too often, I'll see somebody who's maybe marching back and forth, and they're spending most of their time with their back to the audience, or they're almost kick over a little kid because they're not paying attention to their feet, or just things like that. Have some awareness of what's going on around you, and if the audience is starting to yawn and get bored, let's kick it up a notch or stop, because how you're there to perform for music for people. So do it right. Do it with purpose. Do it with a strong start, a strong stop, and a consistent, purposeful middle. That's all there is to it.
Part 2 of Step 3, have good presentation, is about the dress. Here we're going to focus on 3 aspects of dressing well: not too much, not too little, and matching.
Dressing like you know what you're doing. Absolutely key if you're performing. I don't care if you're, just at a little ceilidh with other bagpipers and you're in your jeans and whatever, or you're really awesome skeleton playing bagpipes t-shirt. That's not what I'm getting at. What I'm getting at here is the stories that I've heard of read online where somebody hires a bagpiper for their dad's funeral and a dude shows up in khakis, which I mentioned in another video. Show up dressed up for what you're playing. If you're going to a Ren fair, maybe you can get away with the Jacobite, Bonnie Prince Charlie, whatever t-shirt with the lace-up collar and everything. If you're going to perform for a formal dinner, you should be in, at bare minimum, a tie and like a vest or jacket, if not the full number 1. But dress appropriately. So, and that means not too much or too little. We all know there's bands out there that wear their full military number 1s to gigs at the pub and parades in like Miami in the middle of summer. You don't need a Scottish military number 1 with the feather bonnet and the doublet and the jacket and the extra plaid and all the 15 pounds of wool over everything in Miami in the summer. It's hot. People that's going to be detrimental to your sound at that point because people are going to be dying. And do the people at like the Ren Fair who've got like a flintlock pistol and a powder horn and a sword, like the basket hilted sword, and maybe like 3 or 4 other daggers while they're at it, and then a pouch, and then they've got the full-on like wolf's head sporting, and then they've got like an extra piece of tartan just slung over their back for kicks. I don't even know the purpose. And then they've got like the 4 or 5 feathers, even though they're not a clan chieftain and have not earned the right to put a eagle's feather in their crest badge. And like, at this point, you're just playing dress up. You're not there to play bagpipes, and everybody knows it. So don't do that either. On the flip side, the you guys you see out there in like tennis shoes, busking, like at least cover your cat. Like wear some boots or some kilt hose, and wear like just something that looks like you're trying a little bit. And then of course match. That's the last bit, is the people who get out there and they don't have like a full get up yet, and so they've borrowed a Royal Stuart kilt, and then their bag cover is in black watch, and then they've got a brown belt and black shoes, and just guys, like, invest in some accessories that match. Wear one tartan. I don't care if you've got a tartan bag cover, but make sure it matches your kilt, and your flashes if they're tartan. And if you've got leather, belt, sporran strap, shoes, either all black or all brown, and hopefully one that accentuates your pattern. So if you've got like nice like greens and purples in your kilt, you can go with all brown and leather. If you've got black, if you're like a McGregor kilt, wear black leather. Don't wear brown over black kilt, black and red. So look like you know what you're doing. Dress like you know what you're doing. Dress for the part. Dress for the job you want. But don't look like you're there to play dress up, because I see you guys out there, and you're not fooling anybody. You sound like trash when you're dressed up, way overhyped for what you're actually doing. Maybe I'll link to a video that's what I'm talking about. Nah, I probably won't call him out. All right. Anyways, last step. Almost done.
The last part of step 3, have good presentation, is about deportment. We're going to focus on how you hold your bag, how you hold yourself, and marching.
Last tip of the last part. So the last part of presentation is performance, dress, and deportment. So, I think probably the biggest culprits of poor deportment are like the teenage pipers who have really good fingers and pretty good sounding instrument, and they get up there they've thrown on their band uniform and they kind of lean back and sit up there and play, and got one foot cocked out to the side, and they're not paying attention to what's going on around them, and they look sloppy. It's not that they're wearing a bad uniform, it's not that they're playing poorly, it's just that they're not carrying themselves like they know what they're doing. 3 main sub-aspects, if you look at the slide that was just on: bag posture, body posture, and marching or foot posture, I guess you could say. So with bag posture, carrying your bagpipe, seating it well up under your arm, upright. You know, it might be important to have like your shoulders up and back. Your chanter should be seated comfortably, you know, right about here, maybe pointing a little bit at your solar plexus. If your blow stick is too long and you're having to do that, or too short and you're having to do this, adjust your blow stick so that it sits right here. Blow stick will be key to having good bag posture. The bag size, you see some like little kids with a bag that's too big, or you know, a guy playing a little kid's bag, and it's like that. Get a bag that allows you to do this posture. And then the tie-in, sometimes you know, most of the synthetic bags are pretty standard, but some people will get their bags tied in and you'll have the drones like pointed too far off or something like that. That can be key as well to getting your drones up and your bag held well. Body posture, so that's what I'm talking about with like the kids with the foot cocked out. Stand up straight, stand with your feet together, and you know, your head forwards. A lot of people like will get in the zone and they'll play like this, which it is what it is, but it looks slightly less formal and less impressive, especially if you're playing at a formal gig, than head forwards, paying attention to what's going on. And then as far as feet posture or marching, if you are playing solo, you should probably tap your feet or keep your feet together. A lot of people will maybe tap sometimes, or if you're playing in a band and you're like you're tapping along because you're focused and trying to pay attention to the beat, but maybe your tempo is slightly off the pipe meters and now you're trying to play the two conflicting different things. So march, tap your foot, or stand still. Don't let, and do it as appropriate if you're leading a group or if you're solo. You can do any of the three, just pick one and do it. If you're following, follow what needs to be done, either marching or standing still typically. But having your feet kind of dancing around, tapping your foot sometimes and not tapping your foot other times, and like the kids that I see tapping their feet to a completely different tempo than what they're playing, I don't get that at all. But just make sure that your feet, your body, and your bag present this consistent picture of a piper who knows what they're doing, and that is deportment, at least as it relates to the performance for me. This is the last part, so work on all this, and I will see you on the boards.
As a final refresher, this is the 3 easy steps tree diagram, and this video was about step 3, have good presentation, where we talked about your performance, your dress, and deportment. Thanks for joining again, guys. Take care.